Hello everyone, this is Sam and this is Car Legion. Welcome back to another video. Welcome back to another comparison. Recently, I reviewed the 2021 Acura RDX. This time I'm putting up against the 2020 Audi Q5. Now, the 2021 RDX video will be available for you to watch in the description below. Special thanks for today's video goes to our good friends at Audi Brampton for allowing me to borrow the Q5, and of course Acura North Mississauga, an Acura dealership located in Mississauga, Ontario, Canada. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe. And at the same time, as always, if you are interested in either or, you'll be able to get a promotion or a discount from both dealerships. I've partnered with them to give my viewers some sort of discount on this vehicle. So you can find the links for each dealership in the description below if you are interested to test drive either or. For today's video, I'm going to compare these two, find out which one is the best out of the two, show you exactly what they offer. But first, let me tell you what do we have for today's video. So on my left side, the Acura RDX is the A Spec, and then on my right side we have the Progressive Q5 with the SLine package. So they're both within the same segment, and of course both are same trim. In the States they might have a different name for the Progressive package, but the A Spec remains the same for both Canada and United States. The next question is, which one will cost you more? Well, the Audi Q5. Not by a lot, but the difference in price between these two trims is of course obvious. So for example, this will start at about $51,000 or so, meanwhile the Audi Q5 at about $53,000, $54,000 in Canada. That of course does not include any extra packages or so on. Now let's move on to the exterior and let's talk about design. Which one looks best out of the two? Well, the A Spec does have a very aggressive look in the exterior, starting with the headlights. Beautiful headlights in the front, of course the standard dual style that Acura offers in their models. On this side, the Audi has a bigger grille in the front, very similar to the previous years, of course. The headlights have their special design. They kind of look like a hockey stick if you look at each one. For the headlight, this line over here looks very much like a hockey stick. Quite North American, very Canadian style, which I appreciate. Now, the other obvious thing is that the Audi Q5 doesn't offer any fog lights. Meanwhile, in here we have fog lights. The next question is, what do they offer under the hood? So let's pop the hoods and let me show you what do you get. Great news is that both offer all-wheel drive systems. The Audi has the Quattro, meanwhile the Acura RDX has the super handling all-wheel drive system. They both have 4-cylinder turbocharged 2-liter engines. They're both very capable machines. The Acura offers a 10-speed automatic transmission, meanwhile in the Audi we have the 7-speed S-tronic. The next question we need to answer is space. Which one offers the most space? Well, the Acura technically is longer compared to the Audi Q5. At the same time, you get more space in the second row and the first row. The only difference is in headroom, where Audi gives you a bit more when it comes to the headroom overall, whether it's the first row or the second row. But overall, the Acura will give you a bit more space. You can actually tell the difference when you look at them side by side. The other important question is in terms of convenience. What do they offer? Well, both have power lift gates, or what you can do is press the buttons located, of course, on top of the plate. So they have convenience features. They're not too far off each other. They're very similar in terms of convenient features. Now, the next question is the second row. How do they compare? Well, let's jump into the RDX and let's talk about how do these two compare. Well, I did a test in both vehicles and I find them to be almost the same. The only difference is in the seats in the back. So right now, the way I'm sitting, I can actually see directly into the cluster. Meanwhile, in the Audi Q5, you feel like you're on top of the front seat, which means even though the seats are actually lowered all the way to the bottom for me, because that's the position I usually like, but I feel like in the back, I'm staring down in the Q5. In the RDX, I'm pretty much leveled all the way through. My eyes are pointed towards the screen. It's direct. It's not looking down. And the Q5 feels like the seat in the back is actually a bit higher. In terms of space, they're very much the same. Leg room, head room, both sides, as you can see from the video. I feel like they're actually exactly the same in the back. In terms of technology, you only get charging ports in the back, but other than that, you don't get any extra features. Of course, with a different trim, you'll be able to get heated seats in the back and so on. Both offer a beautiful panoramic roof, which I absolutely love. Gives a different contrast inside the vehicle, especially sunny days. A bit tinted in both models so that you don't get a lot of sunlight inside. It doesn't, get you blind. It doesn't blind your eyes. So I like that. The interior in the Acura RDX with the A Spec, you have this beautiful leather with suede in the center, red and black, my two favorite colors. Although blue on the outside, red on the inside, not quite the match, but this kind of like, it fits very well. In the Audi, we don't have a different color. Of course, you can pick different leather if you want to. You can change that. You have the option. But for what we have for today's video, it's actually black leather interior and sort of gray on the outside. Now, let's jump into the front and let's talk about what do they offer in the front. Well, I have some great news for you. In the front, the passenger or the driver's side, they're actually not that different. So for example, what they have in common is the infotainment system. In the Audi, you have to use it through the trackpad located in here. The newer model actually coming up, the 2021 model, will have a bigger screen and of course touchscreen. It's very much the same, similar to the ones they use in the Q8. The actual system itself, not necessarily the screen, because the Q8 has a different layout when it comes to the infotainment display. On top of that, they both have Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, Bluetooth connectivity, and so on. In the front, heated seats, ventilated seats, heated steering wheel for both vehicles. Dual climate zone in both models. Very similar in features. The Q5 is it offers the child lock for both doors in the front. So you have through the door panel, you have two buttons there, you can lock the doors through there. Other than that, vehicles are similar. The Q5 is offered with a beautiful digital cluster. Of course, it will cost you a bit more, and that's the reason why, because it has these extra features here and there. But other than that, similarities are very common in these two vehicles in terms of technology features, in terms of the convenience of features as well. In the Acura, through the key fob, you can start up the car. It has a remote control. In the Audi, you have to do it through the app. It doesn't have it with the new key fob, but you have the option, of course, for the tailgate to open through there and for the doors. That's it. Other than that, the Acura is the one that gives you one extra features in the key fob. In terms of the interior, which one looks better out of the two? I find the Acura to be a bit more sporty and luxury together. What do I mean by that? Well, if you look at the actual cluster, if you look at the infotainment display, the cluster looks more sporty. Meanwhile, the actual infotainment system looks more luxurious. Now that we have covered everything you need to know about this two, it's time to take them for a test drive and see which one is the best out of the two. First, we're going to take the Audi and then next the Acura, and I'll give you a full comparison between these two vehicles. And of course, we're going to do our cabin noise test to find out which one is the quietest inside. So, if you haven't subscribed by now, please do so. But for now, let's go for a test drive. Okay, so let's go for a drive. One more thing I want to mention is that this model actually comes with a 360 camera, as you can see, and you can change the types of viewing and all that. You can do like full bird's eye view, you can do front, back, side, and so on. So it does have a 360 camera compared to the RDX, which doesn't come with in that package. But again, the Audi will cost you more. Anyways, let's go for a drive, and I want to talk about these two. How do they compare? So, into sport mode. Actually, you know what? Let's just put it into standard mode. And there we go. Comfort, more relaxing. Let's start with that. Now, let's talk first about visibility. Why did I pick visibility first? Is because the Q5 actually doesn't have the best visibility out of the two. It's a bit tight on this side, a smaller window. The RDX has a bit bigger window, the third window specifically. The other thing I noticed with the RDX is that the dashboard, it's sitting much higher compared to the Audi Q5, which is slightly more balanced, and like pretty much the dashboard is right in front of my chest. So you're technically looking down. Meanwhile, in the RDX, you're kind of looking straight a little bit. And I have both seats, I put them on the same level, right at the bottom. I usually like them when they're sitting at the bottom. I'm told, and I feel more comfortable when I'm sitting in that kind of position. Now, the other thing I noticed right away when you get in the Audi Q5 is the steering wheel. It's so light compared to the Audi RDX. The RDX feels a little bit heavier. This feels much lighter inside. Like, you can literally do it with one finger. That's how easy this thing is. Some people like that, some don't. In comfort mode, this is already feeling very soft. I like that. Let me see. Wait, I've driven this multiple times. Whoa! Quick pick. Definitely feels slightly quicker than the RDX. Even in comfort mode, this thing really goes. I like it. I drove the RDX on the way to Audi Brampton, and I got a good feeling about the RDX versus this. But the RDX has something interesting. When you pass like 4,000 RPM on a highway, is so much quicker at a higher RPM than it is at lower RPM. I noticed that. Maybe it has to do with the transmission. Let's put this into sport mode. Transmission is into sport mode. Then we'll put this in dynamic mode so we can have some fun. Drive sport. The steering wheel, even in sport mode, is so light. It doesn't change much. Well, it doesn't go like hard. It's just soft. Same thing. Both. In the RDX, I noticed when you switch it into Sport Plus, it becomes a little bit stiffer. Maybe the suspension system. The suspension system got a little bit stiffer in here too. Went from comfort to a bit stiff. Now you can feel it. As you can see, like I'm actually bouncing a little bit. So that's one difference you notice with this once you switch the driving modes. Brakes in this things are fantastic. Really nice and soft, and very they react quickly. Like once you press a little bit, it goes right, like it's able to actually stop the car quicker. You notice that as you're pressing the brake pedal, it goes a bit soft and then hard on. So that's one thing to keep in mind when it comes to the braking system. Also, this one, the Q5 has a 4 piston brake caliper in the front, so it's bigger than the one you find in the RDX, which uses only 1 piston. How is it better than the RDX? Slightly. You notice that mostly when you're going at a higher speed, because lower speed, not a huge difference, very similar. Higher speed, yeah, you notice a bit of a difference between this two in terms of the braking performance. The sitting position in here is slightly better too. I like the seats, they hug you nicely. It's the same thing in the RDX. I feel like in the RDX you're in a bigger vehicle than it looks from outside. It looks small on the outside, but in the inside feels so much bigger in my opinion. This feels big in the outside, smaller in the inside. Like the cabin area here, it feels so much smaller. It feels like a actual sedan. Oh, that was quick. This thing really surprises you. Once you get in, you think like, oh, it's just a standard SUV, but then you start pushing it, you notice that difference right away. It's such an unusual vehicle because you get different reactions. Like you're staring at it, you're just thinking, oh, it's just a SUV, nothing major. But then you start pushing it, you notice how capable this thing is. I've actually driven the hybrid model, the Quattro, in the snow, and it was quite amazing. I haven't had a chance on the RDX. The all-wheel drive system in the RDX, super handling all-wheel drive system, is fantastic and does a great job. That's the one is equipped, the RDX is equipped with, so quite impressive in there. Now let's push this thing because we just passed the low speed zone. Okay. Hello, Audi. This is quick, agile, and someone sprinkled some water on top of my front glass. I like this thing how it drives. It feels more like a sedan rather than an SUV. This is one difference between this and the RDX. In the RDX, you feel more like in a SUV, big SUV actually. The interior feels quite big. In here, it's so small in this area. Is it uncomfortable for someone my height? No, it's not. It's perfect. As I mentioned previously, this feels like an SUV. The Q5 feels like a sedan. That's what I like about this thing, because it feels like a proper SUV. It's not big inside, like really big. Let's say, for example, an MDX, but you can notice the difference right away. When you jump from one to the other one, you're like, oh, interesting. And also, this thing has so many buttons over here right in your face. You either like that kind of dashboard or you don't. I don't mind it. You know, of course, you get used to it with time, but just like buttons over here, you have the shift knob. This area here, it's not a proper shift knob, actually is just buttons for a reverse drive and so on. Then you have all the climate unit right here. So everything is right on your face. Easy access, but the design is just, there's just too many buttons in my opinion. But other than that, this area feels very sporty. Feels very much like a TLX. And don't forget, the new TLX will have similar design on the interior, like similar to this. So you're sort of like ahead of schedule when it comes to the interior and features. You're already getting quite a lot in this vehicle. Let's put this into dynamic mode. We have this knob here, change into Sport Plus, and then transmission into Sports. Oh, okay. Okay, hello Acura. Now in the dashboard, in the cluster, it shows you the turbo, how much air is going in. Like there's the power, it shows you the wheel, where the power is going onto the wheels, the G-force acceleration as well. It reads the speed limit as well. This is another interesting fact that I mentioned previously. Quite amazing when it comes to features for performance side. In the Audi, it's just standard. You don't get anything extra. This gives you the impression that you're in a proper sport car. Now let's downshift, manual, sport manual. Transmission is nice and smooth. When you wanted to shift fast, it can do that. It's quite impressive. One thing I noticed as well is the steering wheel feels a bit heavier compared to the Q5. The Q5 is so light. The Q5 with one finger you can rotate the steering wheel, very light. This, it's just a bit different. It's a bit heavier. I like it when you want to have some fun with it, because it gives you the impression you're driving like a performance vehicle. Ride quality. Right now in dynamic mode, you can feel that it's a bit stiffer, of course. And then when you put it in comfort mode, you know, it's more comfortable. It's like a boat ride kind of thing. It's a different experience. In sport mode, it changes quite a lot. The steering wheel got a bit stiffer as well. The suspension system got a bit stiffer. Visibility in this car is fantastic. So much space in the back. The rear view windshield is so big, it's huge, and you can see so much more. The Audi is more like a turtle style, so it's curved at the back, curved at the front. This is a bit flat all the way through, which gives more space and bigger window, the third window specifically. Like you can actually see it from the camera. I can see the third window from here. Like it's so wide. It's so good. In sport mode, yeah. Does it feel faster than the Audi? Not really. I feel like the Audi feels quicker than this. This is my opinion. The Audi feels quicker. This, you push it, but there's no power going onto the wheels. In the Audi, you push it and it goes. This is, it takes a bit of time. This is one thing I noticed with this car. It takes a bit of time to catch up to the speed. It is quick, but compared to the Audi, in my opinion, the Audi feels much quicker. In lower RPM, in higher RPM, it doesn't matter. It's fantastic too. But again, these vehicles are not meant for you to track them or anything like that. It's just a standard vehicle. The seating position in here feels slightly higher compared to the Audi. Headroom is very similar, although Audi has just slightly tighter when it comes to headroom. You get a little bit more headroom in here than you'd get in the Audi. You can feel that, as you can see, like my head with the roof, between that distance, there's a gap. The sitting position here feels much higher, even though I have it completely at the bottom. Anyways, that was it for today. Thanks for watching. As always, don't forget to subscribe and check out my other videos. At the same time, special thanks goes to Acura North Mississauga for making this happen. Special thanks goes to Chris. Chris, if you're watching this, thanks for the help. He was able and kind enough to give me the RDX for the day and compare it against the Q5. If you're interested in either or, both dealerships are partnered with me to give my viewers sort of discount or promotion. So you can find both links in the description below. With that in mind, cheers.